be chasing down something comfortably. And of course, if Mohammed Wasim's out there 8, 10, 12 overs, he scores at a strike rate that would end the contest very quickly. But now it goes up into the minds of the Emirati batters. They've lost their gun star. Who's going to step up and get the runs instead of him?
It's going to be these two, Sharafu and Aryan Sharma. Sharma is struggling in the middle. 2 of 9 deliveries. He has to get a move on. The required rate is over 6 runs per over.
Yeah, and I suppose Qatar will be thinking the more tight overs we can bowl, the more we can maybe bring that scoreboard into play. That's not the right line or length. A real loose one, and it just allows Aryan Sharma some relief with one that's actually going to one bounce for it. First Rahul Asher thought it had gone for 6, but again, out towards that sunshine, very low light here, hard for us to see. I think it's one bounce and races to the rope.
That is what Sharma needed. A long hop. He helped it around the corner, down to long leg for a boundary. This will ease some bit of pressure for Aryan Sharma.
Owen follows it up with the most glorious stroke. Holds the shot very, very nicely. Might not quite get to the rope. Good diving effort. And in fact, should be 2 runs saved. Beautiful looking shots. Over at mid-off and holds the shape really elegantly. But the fielder's done enough to keep it to 7 runs from the over. 23 for 1. Amazing how this didn't get to the boundary, Paresh.
Yeah, the fielder has done a very good job just pulling it inches from the ropes.
Yeah, great piece of work out there from, I think it might have been the captain putting his body on the line, Mirza Mohammed Beg, down at long off. We're going to see a first change in bowling. Mohammed Ikramullah, he's a quality operator, isn't he, the left arm seamer. Usually has the headband on. Again, it's so bright here. It's hard for us to even see the wicketkeeper who's 40 metres from us, let alone someone. I think he's got, does he have the headband on? Yes, he does. The trademark headband is on. And he is all set to come in from the Oman LNG end of the ground. He'll be key. His 4 overs very important.
Yeah, but most experienced, one of the most experienced players of Qatar. A left arm medium pacer. Even though we're in a box where we have a black window, the sun is beating into our eyes.
Yeah, I think it'll get better for the evening game. Let's hope it does. It's just difficult for us to pick things up and describe them to you as we would like. Those shadows really lengthening now already. Turns into the magic hour, the golden hour shortly, where I've guaranteed you good sunsets, Paresh. I'm hoping you're not going to be disappointed here.
Hopefully not. It reminds me of my hometown. Hills all around the ground. Exactly a runner ball needed from now for UAE to win this game. On the other hand, Qatar needs 9 wickets, or just to restrict them under the target. Nicely driven, but straight to the fielder.
And he drives the ball so elegantly, and often in ODI cricket, when you might have 2 slips in place early, that area of extra cover can be vacant, or at least you can hit one side or other of that fielder to find reward. A bit different in T20 cricket when you're having to try and play more aggressive and adventurous strokes as Ikramullah beats the outside edge.
Yeah, he tried to play across the line. He tried to play that ball through to the mid-wicket area. That is why he was completely beaten. Good line and length by Ikramullah, a very experienced campaigner for Qatar. This is a very, very interesting phase of the game when Mohammad Wasim is already out and two batters are there struggling.
Again, it's a very elegant shot, and he's going to take on the fielder, collides with Mohamed Ikramullah, and ends up being very fortunate it wasn't a direct hit. I think he would have been out because Ikramullah's kind of held his ground. He's been a bit crafty. Being honest, Aryan Sharma should be running. Well, he's kind of run straight down the wicket, and because of that collision, oh, it would have been very close indeed.
Yes, because of that collision, Aryan Sharma had to dive. It was not a direct hit. Direct hit would have been very interesting. Yet again, a very good over by Ikramullah. The first 4 deliveries of this over, only 2 runs given away.
Fielders converge in the offside, keep that to another dot ball. Yeah, Sharafu had his moments in the Asia Cup as well, didn't he? He's always been a batter of such potential and promise. Probably doesn't quite have the same power hitting X factor as Mohammad Wasim, but after him, the next highest strike rate maybe in this team.
That is what Aryan Sharma has to do, improve his strike rate in the T20 format. He's a very good batsman in the ODI format. Now there's a change in field. The mid-off fielder goes into the boundary line at long off. And the third man fielder comes inside the circle. And there's a deep square leg. The 2 boundary riders.
Good start from Ikramullah. Just the 2 runs from his first over. It's 25 for 1. 5 overs bowled, 25 for 1. And we're going to see another change in bowling. It'll be a change of ends for Mirza Mohammed Beg. Very much a captain who likes to lead from the front.
This is an interesting field. He's pushed the cover fielder into the boundary line sweeper cover, and there's a deep backward square leg.
Interesting, he's looked to change ends. Not sure what he's seen that he's going to prefer this end. This is whipped just over the head of the mid-on fielder. Wanted the power to get to the rope, but we'll pick up a couple. We walked across the outfield, didn't we, just this afternoon? Maybe not quite as tight as it could be, and feeling a little bit heavy underfoot. You saw the fielder just catch a bit of that turf there. The outfield, a lot of cricket here in the last couple of months.
It's and even the outfield is not that quick. It's on the slower side.
Goes a long way up. Mid-on kind of gets himself in a tangle. Couldn't turn it into a catching opportunity. Running backwards, Mohammad Azim. I think if he'd picked up a better line in that and went immediately, that could have been taken. Instead, it's consecutive 2s.
This was hit over the mid-on fielder. Like you said, Lenny, the fielder, first of all, he didn't judge it as soon as it was hit. That is why he couldn't get under the ball. It went high up in the air, got the height but not the distance. Aryan Sharma tried to hit it out of the ground but couldn't time it.
Shorter ball. The attempted pull shot is not affected. Yeah, just slight lack of rhythm, isn't there, for both batters? I know Aryan Sharma is trying to almost hit his way into form, but doesn't look in the greatest touch out there.
Again, there's a change in field. The sweeper cover comes inside the circle, and the mid-on fielder goes back in the boundary line. I think for 3 balls, the sweeper cover fielder was wasted. He's fielding in the boundary line. He should have been in the circle.
Goes towards long on. He's just gone out, and he's hit it straight to him. Extraordinary. That fielder had literally just gone there, Mohammad Azim, and he nearly had a catching opportunity earlier in the innings, and his struggles are over. He knew he was getting behind where he wanted to be. Looks for the get-out shots and hit it straight to long on.
Smart captaincy by Beg. The first 3 balls before this ball, the mid-on fielder was inside the circle, and this particular ball, the field was changed. He went back in the boundary line, and Aryan Sharma gave a simple catch to the fielder. Gone for 13 off 18 deliveries. UAE is some kind of a trouble, 29 for 2.
So often I come into these events, Paresh, and trying to make all the analysis and the build-up, and however you cut it, there's always going to be, even if it's not upsets in terms of outright shocks, there's always going to be periods of play or passages of play where the lower ranked opposition have it more to themselves. And right now, just across this power play, certainly going Qatar's way. Maybe not between the 2 innings. They had a disastrous power play in the first innings. But if you'd offered them a position of having Mohammad Wasim and indeed the second opener, Aryan Sharma, back in the hutch at the end of the power play, and the opposition needing more than a run a ball, then all of a sudden you might just think, well, hold on, we can squeeze them as we come out of the power play. What I'd love to see the captain, Mirza Mohammed Beg, do is continue to attack. Don't go on the defensive when he's allowed to drop the 5 fielders out. Maybe keep a fielder or 2 extra up. Here's another man who can start slowly, Rahul Chopra, the keeper, captain of the ODI side. And he will come in to face the final 2 balls of the power play. Good Yorker to start with. Qatar looking like they have something to work with out there.
Again, changing the field for the new batsman. The sweeper cover is in place and the mid-on fielder is inside the circle. A good delivery, the last one, right in the block hole. 4 runs and a wicket in this over so far. The last ball to go off the power play.
Yeah, really good stuff. It's going to be less than 5 runs and over they're going at in the power play, and they've lost their 2 openers to go alongside it. At the end of the 6th, it's 29 for 2. You can look at the best of this power play, and as you can see, as the shadows lengthen as we head towards sunset here in Muscat, even the boundaries that Wasim got outside of that glorious one down the ground were a little fortunate. That was the big moment. Don't know whether it was maybe trap, but if it was pad first, it certainly looked pretty good. And then, despite that one loose delivery from Mujibur Rahman down the leg side, which on the replay really does look like it went for 6, given us 4, and then the dismissal of Aryan Sharma has meant that Qatar will be the happier of the 2 sides at the end of the 6th over.
It's going to be Daniel Archer, Mario Lewis from the Oman LNGN. Change of bowling. And the power play belongs to Qatar, in my opinion, Lenny. 29 for 2, getting the big wicket of Mohammad Wasim.
little medium pacers from Daniel Archer. They'll shape away, ball with the keeper up to the stump. They have gone very defensive immediately. Just you so often see captains preconditioned to this, don't you, in T20 cricket, rather than get one up, or maybe get two of them up.
I reckon what Big could have done is keep the mid-off fielder inside the circle, stop those easy singles.
So what this will allow Chopra and Sharafu to do, they're probably not going to look for too many boundaries here in this phase, but maybe just get into their innings. They're both early in their own stays at the crease. At least the mid-wicket fielder, the cover fielder, really in tight and saving the single. That's one good thing, but I'd agree with you. Just get one more fielder up, apply a bit more pressure. You're finding a way on top here, Qatar. And the over-reliance potentially on Mohammad Waseem, no Asif Khan in the 11. All of a sudden, UAE are going from a game that we felt that they were very comfortably ahead in to now we might see a twist or turn or two across the next 13, 14 overs.
And not only not in playing 11, but he's not in the squad, Asif Khan.
Yeah, staggering really, isn't it? So they'll get the single here, despite extra cover swooping in close. What other fielder could you bring in potentially? You could argue mid on up as well.
Yeah, to just Sharafu and Chopra. Chopra just in, and Sharafu has played 6 deliveries. Relatively, both are new batters at the crease. Now the mid-wicket fielder goes into the boundary line, and the third man fielder, I presume, comes inside the circle.
Yeah, still just 4 in the circle though. It's almost like a template, isn't it? It's okay, well in the first 6 we can only have 2 outside, so we go with 2 outside. And then from over 7 to 20, no matter what, we go 5 outside. But if you're on top of your opposition, why allow them the easy singles that they're going to be granted now? Anywhere on the leg side's a single. So deep mid-wicket's out, deep backward squares out, long on is out. So if you can get onto an off-stump guard, work it into the leg side, you get 1. It's probably the only place you don't get 1, driving it firmly at extra cover. So it'll be 3 singles from Daniel Archer's first, and it gets us to the end of the 7th, 32 for 2. Change in bowling. We'll see the second of the 2 left-arm spinners that Qatar have on this side. Owais Ahmed come into the attack. One thing that certainly Qatar and Kuwait in particular, and actually now Malaysia with them dropping out of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup Challenge League, one thing that they have kind of slightly to their advantage is they have such a focus on T20 cricket. I know that Qatar are in the Challenge League, but they're struggling in that. They just play a huge amount of it, don't they?
Malaysia, they are in focus in T20s. They have domestic T20s tournament, club games, T20 tournaments. They are only focused in T20s rather than the one-day cricket.
Yeah, 32 teams in total in the ICC's 50-over structures. Qatar are going to be desperate to hold on to their spot in the Challenge League. They're right at the bottom of that Challenge League table at the moment. They could well have to head off to that playoff qualifier next year, which is a pretty cutthroat event. Could end up losing their 50-over status if they don't stay in that. Ahmed, the 34-year-old, into just his 5th T20I. Only made his debut last year in this format. Has played for Qatar since all the way back in 2019 though, and had a pretty good Challenge League there in Jersey. Picked up 6 wickets across his 5 appearances. Qatar, well, they kind of slightly flattered to deceive in that event. They had a couple of good performances, but ultimately they could only pick up the 1 win, and they are rooted to the bottom of that Challenge League A table in the 50-over format. Big focus though on T20 cricket too now for them. and a chance at a maiden World Cup appearance. Certainly invested heavily enough in the backroom staff. We've spoken about that in the first innings. Big names and players, didn't get touch on all of them, but even Brent Arnold, who's the former New Zealand Test cricketer, he's the bowling coach. Mal Loy, Aftab Khan, Tom Turner, Toby Bailey. Good names there guiding the men from Qatar.
It's exactly what Qatar needed. They want to qualify for the T20 World Cup next year. That is why they have got those powerhouses in their dressing rooms and the support staff.
Do you remember watching Mal Loy bat back in the day? Used to take. He had a little period in the English white ball team, and he was, I think, most famous. I hope I'm getting this right. Most famous for slog sweeping Brett Lee. Like, how can you slog sweep Brett Lee? Or the Mal scoop, was it? Was that what it was called?
Once we could see that Moin Khan sweeping Glenn McGrath in the World Cup. I think that was in 1999. Moin Khan sweeping Glenn McGrath for a 6.
It's funny how you can kind of become famous for one shot. I'm just showing you here on your screen next to you, Paresh, not at home. I think he also attempted to slog sweep him once. I got hit in the helmet. Brave man to slog sweep Brett Lee. And interesting. We've had a warning, or certainly a word, for a run out at the non-strikers end. Awais Ahmed doesn't release that and says to Rahul Chopra, make sure you watch. Yeah, played one-day international cricket for England, Mal Loy, back in and around 15 years ago now. Time flies by as we enjoy this great game of ours. 8 have been bowled. It's 37 for 2. You can see there, sides pretty much neck and neck, despite that disastrous start for Qatar when they were 5 for 3. UAE need to start to get going here. In fact, falling behind.
Yes, they are just dropping down off the Qatar warm. 37 for 2 after 8 overs. UAE losing their hard-hitting batsman, the captain Mohammad Wasim, and Aryan Sharma, both the openers back in the hut.
And you talk about that sort of singular focus on the one format. I know Qatar in the Challenge League, and I know they play 50-over cricket. You get some 40-over cricket domestically too, but just when you're only kind of being drilled again and again, and the weight of T20 cricket that Qatar are playing, it means you can really focus on that one format, know your skill sets, know what you're trying to do. That's more like it for the UAE. Sharafu goes inside out over extra, just a nice flourish, extension of the arms, and gets 4.
Excellent batting by Sharafu. It was a good hit. He timed the ball. He didn't try to hit the ball too hard. Just timed it over extra. Onto the pitch of the ball. Played it on the up. One bounce over the fence. This is what is needed for UAE batters. Boundaries quite often. Chasing a low target of 119.
It's funny, isn't it? In a run chase, no matter what that run chase is, if you lose wickets or if you start to look up at the scoreboard and the required run rate, you can get yourself into trouble. Whereas if you're batting first, in this position, I think you continue to attack, you'd start to think, well, we've got to get up to 150, 160, even though we haven't got off to a good start. And then you add in the pressure of this format in terms of first ever time we've seen this 3 groups of 3 and just 2 group matches to decide the Super 6 qualifiers. All of a sudden, it's the mind that's almost playing tricks on the batters.
It is, because it's a very tight schedule. If you lose a game first up, you're in trouble.
Oh, big trouble. Have to start brightly, have to start well, and as we've said in the first innings, UAE, the highest ranked side here of the 9. Series win over Bangladesh earlier in the year, who just whitewashed Afghanistan in their home series hosted in Sharjah. So, yeah, it's the pressure cooker of associate cricket. I know we spoke about it off air from the Nepal perspective, And I meant what I said. There is a possibility, a real possibility. Nepal will have beaten the former world champions. As 5 runs come from the 9th over, 42 for 2. 2-1. First ever wins over a full member nation. First ever wins over a test nation. There is a chance that they'll win that series, the Unity Cup, and then come here to the qualifier and not qualify. That's how competitive associate cricket is. That's the pressure cooker, the difference in nature of the associate game.
Yes, it is. And you can see in the last time when Nepal and Kuwait met in the final of the Hong Kong Tri-Sixes, Kuwait beat Nepal in the final.
Yeah, that was that a quadrangular tournament actually, was it, up in Hong Kong in April? And again, that was a thrilling game. Bashir Ahmed nearly got Nepal over the line. He's not in the squad here. Nandan Yadav combined well with him. So Mujibur Rahman's going to be asked to come back into the attack. He'll bowl his 3rd. And all of a sudden, the required run rate, it's not getting out of control, but it's snuck up to 7 runs per over. And there's just a few nerves in that Emirati dugout over towards the team changing rooms. One thing that's very tangible and noticeable is the improvement amongst Qatar's fielding, and credit to Aftab Khan for that, the fielding coach.
Very much improved, and we can see fit players in the modern day cricket.
Reminds me, Mujibur Rahman, the action of Mohammad Aslam we'll see this evening. Similar, comes very wide of the crease. Yeah, Aftab Khan, the 41-year-old former first-class cricketer, he was actually the fielding coach of the Pakistan national team, having played for Peshawar and Habib Bank there in Pakistan. Now, inside out over extra. Fielder out there, straight to him. We've got a game in our hands here at the Oman Cricket Academy as Chopra, who never looked settled in his innings, has holed out to deep cover, who judges the catch really well, flicked the cap off, looking straight into the sunset, so he's done well to hold on to that. And Qatar have real life and real hope. Where are we staring at the first upset, Paresh?
Yeah, it was not hit from the middle of the bat. Fairly smart catch, looking into the sun, setting sun. And the drinks has been called UAE 43 for 3. I will take a short break here in the commentary box as well.
really good over. Just the 2 runs from it, and the 3rd wicket to fall. Halfway stage of the chase, UAE in trouble. 44 for 3. Mohamed Ikramullah to bowl his 2nd. 7.5 runs required per over, and the UAE definitely not in the position that they would have hoped for. A few nervy looking signs from the UAE dugouts as the sun continues to peer towards the peak of those mountains. The approach has been, well, interesting, Paresh, let's put it that way. Hasn't been much intent.
This is not the approach what we expected, apart from Mohammad Wasim, who's a natural striker of the ball. Yeah, you were right, Lenny. No intent of scoring runs quickly. They just want to stay there.
Yeah, it felt like kind of Mohammad Wasim had the intent, and then outside of that, mix up, and if that was picked up cleanly, could have been a difficult run-out opportunity. It's the captain, Mirza Mohammed Beg, who did well, didn't he, to run around it, but just fumbled as he looked to pick it up. Would have had 1 stump to aim at. The last man that the UAE need run out is Alishan Sharafu.
Yes, he's the last man they need a run out. Ikramullah bowling a very good over. The first over went for 2 runs only, 2 dot balls. In this over, the 3rd one, good areas, not letting the batsman to go after the bowling. Harshit Kaushik has played 6 balls for just 1 run.
Yeah, and again, it's just how you start, isn't it? You get yourself into trouble, you get behind, and immediately the pressure builds. What Qatar are doing really well, those 4 fielders in the circle are very much swarming. And they're the ones putting on the pressure. The keeper there, Amal Lianage, just directing a couple of the angles. Going to have a slight change in the field. Going to bring, I think, deep 3rd up into the circle. Send deep mid-wicket back. So all 3 in front of square on the leg side are now in the deep. Also seeing Awais Ahmed go through some warm-up motions. He might be involved with the ball soon. Little cutter, change of pace. Every over that goes by now without a boundary, that required run rate is likely to climb, Paresh.
Yeah, it's almost 8 now, 7.93. It all started, when the innings started, it was under 6, the required rate, because of good, accurate bowling by Qatari bowlers. They've done well to restrict UAE for 45 for 3 in the 11th over.
Sharafu just pulls out there. A little bit of a word from the standing umpire. I think it's to the keeper and to the fielders, just to calm things down, tone it down. Obviously a lot of chat. We can't hear it. We're up in the soundproof commentary box. But clearly a little bit of chirp from Qatar's fielders. And Sharafu not happy, pulling out. Oh, inside edge. That could have gone anywhere. And you can see the pressure is building. He thuds his pads in frustration. He's only on 14 off 19. UAE just can't get anything going in this chase.
Yeah, still Basil Hamid, the experienced batter, yet to come in. They've sent Harshit Kaushik in front of him, just to match up with the left-arm orthodox Mujibur Rahman. I think Kaushik has to take a bit of risk, try to go over the top. The field is changed. The middle fielder comes inside the circle.
It's going to be a single to close out the 11th. 3 singles from it. Another good over from Qatar. They've been excellent. Very much applying pressure. 47 for 3. So the equation, 72 to win off 54 deliveries. And it's an equation that Qatar will be elated with. After a flying start, 10 runs from the first over, things have been pulled back very handsomely indeed. Qatar's fielding really impressive. As the slog sweep comes out, and it's a badly needed maximum. Kaushik finally gets one away. He'll move to 9 off 9. And they really needed that, the matchup in their favour. That's why the left-handers come to the crease, and the 50 comes up in some style.
And this is what Kaushik should do. He should attack the bowlers, whereas Alishan Sharafu, he should bat with him a good slog sweep down to the cow corner for a 6. We always talk about matchups, Lenny.
Yeah, a lot of chat about matchups in the modern T20 game, isn't there? All the data that goes in. Tries to go again, but cleverly bowled out towards the guideline, the wide line outside the off stump. It isn't enough of a total to certainly cause too much trouble to the UAE if they have a few good overs here. But what's really impressed me from Qatar is just how well drilled they've been. Their bowling plan's very blatant and very clear. Fielders all know their roles, and the captains rotated the bowlers around nicely too. Maybe just got that one slightly wrong. Could it have been someone else but Ahmed to bowl to Harshit Kaushik, but follows it up with a dot. And even if you get one big over in a chase of 120 or so, you're going to get yourself back into the rate required.
That is what UAE wants, one big over. That over can beat this one, but there's a right-hander on strike, Sharafu.
And Sharafu's career strike rate up at 130, 140, that's usually where he's at. But just having a difficult day out there, not quite getting the ball into the arcs that he would like or he's hoping for. Still so young, Sharafu, former under-19 captain, just 22 years of age. Career strike rate 133. Today, well, he's striking what, at 60, 70, so he's got to start moving that in the right direction.
He's the one who should stay there, but like I said, Kaushik should take risks, calculated risks. The equation is 63 more needed of 49.
Speared in this time and finds the dot to get out of his over, so not too much more damage done after the maximum to start with. 12 have been bowled, 56 for 3. There's the Manhattan on the charts, and you can see not many building blocks outside of that first over for UAE.
Yeah, apart from the first over, the 12th over, he yielded 9 runs.
We see a change in bowling, an introduction of, I think will be the 6th bowler for Qatar. So rolling through their options, Sharik Munir. Come in to bowl some right arm seam. Going to come around the wicket to Harshit Kaushik. And still just the 4 fielders in the 30-yard circle. Prowling, trying to cut off the singles. Definitely has been a bit of help, isn't there, as they decline the single and Sharifu gets back despite the direct hit. There has been a bit there for the seamers today.
Yes, because of the grass, there has been for the seamers in the first innings as well. Junaid Siddiq and Mohammad Rohit bowling extremely well, accompanied by Ali, the debutant, taking 2 wickets. 2 wickets for Rohit and a wicket for Junaid Siddiq.
You can just see that little bit of fraction of shape, can't you? Far too many dots for the UAE. That's why they're in this difficult position. Qatar really impressive, fighting and scrapping for every single bit of this contest out there, and they'll feel as though if they can get Sharifu, you know, there'll definitely be a chance of restricting UAE beneath the 118 that they have on the board.
Yeah, dot balls piling pressure to the batsman. Kaushik unable to rotate the strike. There's a left and right hand combination at the crease for UAE, so they should rotate the strike, hit the ball to the boundary line once in a while. It's not out of their hand, but they have to do something about it. Just
need to cut off these dots. Even this single here, though they'll get home, not comfortable. Now Sharifu has that power, has that quality, given a new role. Remember, he opened the batting all throughout the last 6 weeks in the Triangular Series against Afghanistan and Pakistan, and then in the Asia Cup alongside Mohammad Azim. Dropped down to number 3. Kaushik comes down to give him some advice. But you're just looking at it now and you're saying, where are the boundaries coming from? Required run rate up over 8 and over.
they need boundaries. They need to break the shackles here. Sharafu 15 of 22, whereas Kaushik 12 of 14.
Use of the feet goes down the ground and will get the boundary that the UAE desperately needed. Lovely full flourish of the bat. It's probably trying to go a little bit more over extra cover, but gets it wide enough of long off and gets really good contact. So finds a boundary, a desperately needed one for UAE.
A good connection by Sharafu coming down the track, hitting it inside out towards the left part of the long off fielder. Couldn't stop the boundary. Beautifully done by Sharafu. A diving effort, but he couldn't stop the ball.
Big swing and a miss goes across the line, and haven't seen many batters get reward with that thus far today. Again, a bit of movement. Interesting time to bat because the floodlights have now kicked into full effect. Let's see if we can show you those in a moment. And the sun continues to peak towards the very top of those lovely mountains that surround us in Al Emirat. And there's just a bit of something happening for the seamers in particular.
I think because of the setting sun and the floodlights are on and the grass on the pitch, that is why it's helping the medium pacers.
Good comeback again after the boundary. 2 dots to round out the 13th. It's 61 for 3. You can just see it there, Paresh, very top right of your screen. The incredible LED floodlights that were put in place for the 2021 T20 World Cup. There was floodlights here before that, but with the UAE and Oman co-hosting that event, after the troubles with COVID. It was the only way they could get it together. Look at those LEDs, they're so impressive, and they have kicked in fully now despite the fact that the sun hasn't set yet. And that's just making the ball talk a bit. UAE, particularly their skipper there, Mohammed Wasim, sitting out in front of his squad. They just look a little nervous. 7 remain. They're only just past the halfway stage of this chase. It feels like this one's going to the 20th and final, whatever way it swings now. Paresh and Qatar will be feeling positive about maybe starting with a win.
That is what they want, start with a win. Every team wants to start with a win, like what Oman did in the first game, winning against Samoa with 5 wickets in the 18th over, chasing 93.
Now this is thudded into the pad, and it looked similar, didn't it, to the decision that went the way of Mujibur Rahman against Mohammed Wasim. Same shot. What's happened here? Was there a bit of bat involved? Yeah, we'll come back to that replay in a moment. It did look adjacent. Just wonder, was there a bit of bat? Didn't seem to be any complaints after the initial appeal from Mujibur Rahman, as Sharafu picks up a couple to move into the 20s. It should be the LBW decision here. Very wide of the crease. Yeah, maybe bat, and it could well be angling down too, Paresh.
Yeah, it's a good decision by the umpire there. Sharafu taking risks.
Happy to just pick up the single. I do wonder which of the bowlers they're going to target. I've seen 6 used thus far. Again, a dot ball. He's missed out there. It was short of a length. Could have been put anywhere. Can't even find a single, Kaushik. Pumped down the ground, much more like it. And again, that matchup. Left arm spinner to left-handed batter. For the second time of the innings goes the UAE's way. They needed that boundary desperately. Closes out the 14th with a maximum. 10 come from it. 71 for 3.
Yes, it was a good hit. We always talk about matchups. Sharafu moves to 22 of 28, whereas Kaushik moves to 19 of 17. Better than a runner ball for him.
You just see a few drinks being run out, so you get a little glimpse of the glory of the Muscat sunset. That's actually out the other direction towards the Al Emirates Hills. So that's what the sun is painting the picture of. Beautiful part of the world here. If you've never been to the Sultanate of Oman, stick it on your bucket list. Very friendly people, lovely food, and plenty of high quality cricket on offer across these 10 days. UAE need exactly 8 runs per over. That maximum was rather desperately needed, the way in which this contest has been going thus far. But there is a 4th wicket partnership building up of some notes, and they're going to need these two, and then the very experienced Basil Hamid, who'll be in next at their best. The partnership is now worth 28. Taking the best part of 5 overs to do it. You sense this is an important over, as Munir will bowl his second. And UAE are going to target it, and that's much more like it. Sharafu charges at the medium pacer, gets to the pitch, and smashes it for what will be consecutive 6s for the team.
I think this is the bowler they're targeting, Munir. Sharafu coming down the track, hitting it straight with a straight bat down to long on for a 6.
Well, I like that call to use the feet just to put the pressure on Munir. Keeper is back. Don't think he's quite at that pace where the keeper couldn't think about coming up to the stumps. And interestingly now, we're going to see Munir come around the wickets. I think Sharafu is going to continue to attack him. Felt this was going to be a crunch over. Can the UAE turn it into a big one? Comes down again. It'll be just a single. Bring Kaushik on to strike. Fascinating contest as we always anticipating these qualifiers. Paresh, it's ebbing and flowing beautifully.
Yes, the associate games always nail-biting finishes. Six and a single in this over so far in the first two deliveries. There's a long off, sweeper cover.
Pulled into the leg side. And a good stop. Excellent one-handed effort out there. Mohammed Tanvir, well, 44 years of age. You'd never believe it. Does really well. That's 3 runs saved.
Yes, excellent fielding effort by the senior pro.
Can be a tricky time to field as well, with the glare of those lights kicking in. And then the sun continuing to rapidly descend away from us. Very much in the golden air here. Lovely golden hue out there. This one straight to the fielder. Just can't seem to get that kind of big over. Once they get one boundary, they can't find a second.
That has been the problem, and good bowling by the bowlers of Qatar. They're bowling at the right areas, not letting the batters to go after them.
Just a slight change in the field again. Deep mid-wicket is actually more going out to a cow corner. Deep third comes up into short third in the circle. Bowled into the pitch. Sharafu has charged at Munir every delivery. Really surprised the keeper hasn't considered getting himself up to the stumps.
I think because of if the batter gets an edge or a fine edge, he can go down to the boundary. So that is why the keeper has kept himself far away from the stumps. This is a good over for UAE. 9 runs coming out of it in the first 5 deliveries.
Yeah, just slightly above that required run rate, which was hovering at around 8 and over. We've still got those 7 wickets in hand. They'll get a single. I'm not saying that Duckworth Lewis Stearns is going to come into play, but it's always interesting as a barometer where the game is at. The DLS par score at the end of this over, with 3 wickets down, is 81. So it's neck and neck, and that's how tight a contest we're witnessing. 6 bowlers used thus far by Qatar. Munir's the one that they've kind of looked at targeting, and Owais Ahmed has been expensive as well. With Daniel Archer's style, will he be used towards the death, or where's the captain going to turn? Obviously Ikramullah is definitely going to bowl 2 of them. With Mujibur Rahman bowled out, it's a difficult sort of puzzle for him to piece together here at the end.
Yes, he's bowled out to Mujibur Rahman. This is Ikramullah's 3rd over. He's given only 5 runs in his 2 overs.
Yeah, 2 crunch overs, and rather than wait for him to bowl over 17 and 19 or 18 and 20, he's going to split them up. So Ikramullah will bowl this one the 16th, and then the captain can decide when to use his 4th and final from his premier seamer. Fielders running everywhere right now. Changes to the field aplenty, and that's going to be a warning. It is a warning from Rahul Asher, a first warning in terms of not completing, being ready to bowl your next over within 60 seconds. I think you get 2 warnings, and then the 3rd time around a fielding penalty will kick in. So Qatar just need to keep an eye on that. They were making so many changes, it took an eternity to get this over bowled. Start with a single, worked into the leg side. Is Sharafu going to continue to try and accelerate his strike rate, starting to catch up?
That is what UAE wants, and that is what he's doing. He's charging the bowler, trying to hit the ball into the gaps, trying to hit boundaries. The required rate is 7.66. They at least need a boundary every over from now on.
Yeah, for Qatar as well, they'll be acutely aware of how good a side the UAE are. They've done really well to press them here. But the UAE getting their kind of head around this chase despite that dot ball. It's their 5th meeting in this format. UAE have won all 4 of the previous encounters. But it's just that extra pressure, the qualifier on the opening day. First game here in Group A. And of course, the last thing you want to do is think about losing this game and what pressure that would put you in your second and final group game. Such a short group stage before we head to the Super 6. Gets the single, won't get the second. Ikramullah, well, if he can keep 2 tight overs, will definitely send us to the 20th and final.
Yes, it sure will. He's bowling well. And apart from Alishan Sharafu, Harshit Kaushik hasn't shown any intent against the medium pacers, against the spinners. He has.
Yeah, he's hit those 2 sixes, isn't he, off the left arm spinners, but his approach here to the seamers will be interesting. Oh, full toss, and well, if he missed it, it would have been trapped LBW, but instead he's missed out. Only gets an inside edge and picks up a single.
Yeah, he missed out on the full toss. He could have hit it out of the park into the oval number 2, but completely missed it. Inside edge, just a single. A rare delivery by Ikramullah, a full toss.
Sharafu again walks and punches the air with delight. He knows how important that boundary was. Walks down at Ikramullah. Looks for the square drive. Might have been in the air for a moment, but it beats the dive of the short third or backward point fielder, depending upon how you look at Owais Ahmed going to his weaker side. Big boundary, that one.
Yes, he opened the face of the bat to get the gap. That is why I think he punched after getting the gap and the ball going towards the boundary line. A much needed boundary again. 7 runs of this over. If they can hit another boundary, they're up to the mark.
They just haven't been able to string 2 boundaries together, really. In the same over, that is. They did have the back-to-back maximums, but it's in different overs. Sharafu wants the second, and Kaushik gives him the willing call, and it's a good over off Ikramullah. It's more than they require. The UAE, well, they're starting to get themselves towards a dominant position. It's 90 for 3. Yeah, there is that beautiful sunset. Look at that. I promised you good sunsets, Paresh. And oh man, it always delivers.
Yes, it's actually a very good scene. The sun going down behind the hills.
So Daniel Archer, he's going to bowl at the death here. Works this into the leg side, does Kaushik. UAE probably going to get home here, you would imagine. There can always be a twist or turn, particularly if we see wickets fall. But they haven't been overly convincing. And Qatar, even though they might go down to defeat, they're going to take a lot from this game.
They sure will, because they've given a hard time to the top-ranked team in this 9-team event. 28 more required of 23. It's much gettable.
Good call here from Imali and Age as well. Because Sharafu has continued to come down and attack again and again the medium pacers, he says, get me the helmet and get me up to the stumps. Have to put some pressure on Sharafu. Bring in another method of dismissal. Bring in the potential of a stumping. And immediately he's forced to stay in his crease. So just work down the ground for a single. 27 to win off 22, the equation. 7 wickets in hand. UAE should do it.
They should do it, but you never know. It's the game of cricket. A couple of quick wickets can change the scenario of the game. A couple of hits over the boundary line will ease UAE's effort to win this game.
Pulled away. There is protection out there, but it splits the two men, so it allows the time to get back for a couple. Yeah, 7.5 and over. All you really need is 5 or 6, well, 5 singles and a 2, and you've got what you require. It's hard to do it, but again, if you don't change something as a captain here, it's difficult to apply pressure.
It sure is. The required rate coming down to 7.14. Nicely driven down the ground. I think the chase is in control by the UAE players. Some hiccups early in the innings, but this partnership is doing the trick for UAE.
Yeah, the Nepal squad have arrived. They're over on the second pitch. This one's hacked into the leg side. Stuart Law and Nick Pothas, very keen observers there out on the second oval. They'll be watching their opposition, knowing that they'll certainly, if they get through to the Super 6, play against at least one of these two sides, or they could end up playing against both of them if UAE and Qatar get through.
Stuart Law is a very good reader of the game, a reader of an opponent, a good reader of the opponent.
Nicely worked into the leg side, so it's going to be exactly the 7 that I speculated upon as being possible without hitting the boundary, and they continue to inch closer. 97 for 3. Beautiful scene. The floodlights over on the second ground now into full effect too. The hockey stadium in the background. You can see there that UAE have actually been behind Qatar, haven't they, for much of this chase, but with 7 wickets in hand, and critically that really slow finish for Qatar when the two seamers for the UAE were exceptional. They should get home here. They hold all the aces.
Yeah, they should get home from here. The home shows that UAE are still behind from Qatar, but 22 required of 18, 7 wickets in hand. They can do it quite easily. Alishan Sharafu getting a back massage there, getting a back spasm, I presume.
Yeah, one of the things I suppose we haven't probably touched on enough is just how hot it is. We're fortunate being up in an air-conditioned commentary box here, but it's been 32, 33 degrees right the way throughout the heat of the day, and the way the structure works throughout the group stages at least is we'll have 3 games each day. Dr. Manish there doing a brilliant job for the UAE, long-standing team doctor, getting out and getting some work into Sharafu. So the stories I was hearing from the morning game is that even some of the more experienced Oman players were finding it hot. Just warmed up a couple of degrees the last couple of days. I think the warm-ups, it was a bit cooler, 28, 29 degrees. But for the moment, it is probably hovering around that 32, 33. So warm work for all of the fielders and indeed the batters, as Ikramullah will bowl his 4th and final. So Qatar are trying to restrict things, or probably more importantly break this 4th wicket partnership. Looks for the Yorker but misses everything and adjudged a wide.
Yeah, if that doesn't flip the pad, that is a wide. A good decision by the umpire. That was way down the leg side. Its margin for error on the leg side is very, very minimal.
Yeah, both batters have actually got their strike rate up above a run a ball now too. Hasn't been easy. They haven't been at their best, and they so heavily, particularly with no Asif Khan, they so heavily rely upon Mohammad Wasim to provide that X factor. It's been workmanlike. They still do. They can see that finish line. Now they just need 21 more, and they've got 17 balls to do it.
They should get home quite easily because of this partnership. Again, down the leg side. I think that brushed the pad.
Yeah, that'll be a handy dot ball. Probably wasn't exactly where he wanted the Yorker to go. And it's going to be difficult to replicate what Junaid Sadiq and Mohamed Rohid did so well. Yeah, flicks the pad. Good glove work as well, too, from Lianage, who dives swiftly to his left. Qatar will have a lot to take from this contest, even if the UAE stumble over the line. They've been really good in phases. And any of that net run rate boost we were talking about earlier, that's long gone. Into the slot and dispatched. Misses the Yorker by probably, 9 or 12 inches, something like that. And it's Kaushik's third maximum. Flies over the rope. 6 more to the total. 100 comes up.
This one's first 6 against the medium paces. Headed down the ground. Over long on. A very good camera work there. On the ground. Following the ball. Crossing the ropes. Much needed 6. Now its required rate is run a ball, 15 or 15. Another full toss. Looking for 2. Easily 2 runs taken by Kaushik. Moves to 34 of 28. 36 of 29.
Few interested spectators up there on the balcony. You can see both Kuwaits and Nepal in the background going through some warm-up motions using the second surface. Such a great facility, this one. It really is outstanding. Yeah, so 13 more required now. 14 balls to do it. Should get up. Might go all the way to the 20th over, though. But it's been a good partnership between these two for the 4th wicket. Goes to the slower ball and worked into the leg side. Ikramul has been a bit unlucky. He's bowled better than his figures would suggest, Paresh.
Yes, apart from that 6 that was hit in this over, the third delivery, the first one was a wide. He has bowled pretty well. Economy rate is also good for him. This is his last ball of his spell. 24 for no wicket.
Yeah, intelligent batting. The Sheriff, he's a much more mature cricketer than he was when he first played for the UAE 5-6 years ago. I think back in 2000 actually his debut. So impressive stuff from him. He's gone through the gears. 40 off 39. He moves to 108 for 3. This partnership, Paresh, has been a really good one, hasn't it? It probably started a bit tentatively given the situation and the circumstance, but it's now worth 65 off 51 balls.
Yeah, this can be a match-winning partnership for UAE. The first game they're playing here in this qualifier, the men's ICC men's T20 Asia and East Asia Pacific qualifiers. Just 11 more needed from 12. Sharaf on 40, Kaushik on 37, the partnership 65 or 51.
And how important are those 3 concluding overs now from Mohamed Rohid and Junaid Sadiq looking? I think collectively, what do they go for? 11 or 12, was it, off the last 3? And that is probably going to end up being the difference between the two sides. Exceptional effort. Here comes the skipper, Mirza Mohammed Beg. One last roll of the dice for him. He bowls his 4th. And is whipped into the leg side. Long on, comes around and puts it down. It bursts through his hands and goes for 6. And the last hopes of Qatar go with it. If that was held, well, the UAE would probably still have got home. But now it's all but done as that maximum gets UAE closer.
Yes, this was it. It burst through the hands and over the rope. That was the last roll of the dice by the captain Beg for Qatar, but the catch missed and he went for a 6. So only 5 runs required now for UAE.
Whipped away. I'm going to be whipped away for 4 more. They're within touching distance now, the UAE. Really impressive partnership, and it's 50 for Alishan Sharafu.
A very well compiled 50 by Sharafu. He started up slow, but at the end he's much better than a runner ball. 50 of just 41 deliveries. Nice placement down to mid-wicket region. Just a single needed for the victory for UAE, the first one.
That'll be that. Sharafu's the one who hits the winning runs. He'll finish with 51 not out. And UAE, despite a wobble, they start with a victory. It's a 7-wicket win for them. And the tournament favourites, the highest ranked side here, are off to a winning start despite that wobble. And they'll breathe a deep sigh of relief.
Yes, the scorecard says that UAE won by 7 wickets. And in the 19th over, we were talking about earlier about the net run rate, boosting the net run rate. That was not the case. It was a shaky start for UAE when Mohammad Wasim got out, and then UAE winning the game by 7 wickets. A good start for the tournament, for the qualifiers, for UAE. These are the highlights of the second innings, where Mohammad Wasim was going at a good rate, but he was trapped in front by Mujib-ur-Rahman, and then a couple of bad deliveries by him, went for 4s. This one, Aryan Sharma throwing his wicket away. This was a very good shot, inside out, over extra cover. Third wicket to go for UAE, and this was a good 6 slog sweep by Kaushik. This one was a very good placement. He opened the face of the bat to get a boundary, and this one's hit very well by Kaushik for a 6, and a very good camera work there. A catch dropped at the end, the last roll of the dice by the captain Big, and this is the winning run by Sharafu. This is the batting card. Aryan Sharma struggled, 13 of 18. Mohammad Wasim 11, and Sharafu unbeaten on 51, and Harshit Kaushik